Alright, we're one cup of rum deep, and I think I'm already drunk. So hey, what better time to do some commentary on something whenever you're barely, like, coherent? So why not? So hey, we have Alencia, Magic Scholar Doris, and, oh, who was my last unit? I really can't remember. Shuna. So yeah, we're going up against Apocalypse Ravi, and Annnnd, and then Choux. So the all-in-all thing that I was trying to do here is I was wanting to see just how effective of a tank Shuna really is against the dreaded terror that is Choux. And I brought Alencia because I'm not dealing with control, I'm just dealing with buffs. And I don't think these units are really going to be utilizing a lot of like crazy effect resist kind of strats, because they're all fast. Like this Annnnd, for example, was definitely not running any effect resist. She probably should have resisted that if she was. So this was just speed. That's what I'm making the immediate assumption for. And so I go in with Shuna, who is actually really, really helpful just in all of the stuff that she does, man. Because you're going into like some pretty low effect resist units. Sure, Apocalypse Ravi can be high on the effect resist scale. It can happen. But ultimately, we got ourselves a really, really cool sleep on the Shuna, so we were able to say, okay, so I see my immediate target here. We need to go ahead and kill Armin as soon as possible, because as soon as we do that, then we don't really have to worry about anything with Choux. So here's the first big hit. So that was an S1 into an S2. Here, I'm already starting to think about my situation here. It's like, so should I try and do a soul burned S1 to do it onto the Choux to get a death break, or should I just go for the kill on Annnnd and just see who she hits? So I went with the latter, and then she went into Choux. Thankfully, Choux was actually high enough on her cooldown count where she got to her S3. If she had any opportunity to just go into Shuna with an S1 or anything like that, we would have been done. So, thankfully, that didn't happen. We do an S2 HP redistribution, and, like, everybody's fine again. And especially Doris, too, because, like, hey, we're essentially doing, like, 2 DPS, 1 DPS, 2 healer, which is a very, very safe strategy. It's utilized an awful lot in, like, Dark Corvus comps, which, hey, what can you... I can't really, like, say anything bad about it. It's effective. So, here, we're going into 2 HP bruisers that all function off of their HP. So naturally, why not bring probably one of the best injury units in the game, which is Alencia. So there's only one other unit that is better than her when it comes to injury, and that's definitely Il'Anav post-buff. Now, the problem with using Il'Anav is if you're going into something like a Choux will absolutely murder you. And that was an Annnnd in a Choux. So, like, the chances of, like, the Choux getting her turn to just go into your Il'Anav is just pretty huge, and she's gonna fuck you up. So, basically, we went into this with Alencia because she could strip, and because she could strip, we don't really have to worry about things like crit buff, stuff like that. And even if you hit and you don't crit, you still do injury damage. So, like, it all kind of works out. So, like, that thing right there that you just saw me do is, like, I was trying to, like, play around with the CR bar mechanics just a little bit. It didn't work out. So, I was hoping I would get Alencia up closer past her sleeping turn, but that didn't work out. That's all that was. So, now... one thing you probably have already noticed, this is actually a Crimson Seed A Ravi, and I was actually getting a little bit worried about it, because I was like, oh, fuck, am I going to get, like, beaten by a Crimson Seed, post-nerf Crimson Seed A Ravi? But, like, hey, you still have to get a counterattack if you want Crimson Seed to even proc once. So, the odds are still pretty high in your favor. And, hey, all I have to do is I just have to get lucky once and land one Death Break on Alencia, and I win. Which, oh hey, looky there. There it is. And with that said, you dead, bitch. So, we're finding Peira, Mercedes, and Belian. So hey, why not just go, hey yo, hey yo dog, let's go full fucking anti-AoE. So, we have LRK, Lost Rider Krau, Inferno Khawazu, and Roana here. So, this would actually have worked out a lot better if I had even more effect resist on my LRK. But, like, hey, we're going into a Peira here who is strictly probably nothing but speed and effect and effectiveness. So, I don't feel too bad about it. But, like, you'll see basically what happens throughout the fight. So, that's also an injury Belian. So you would think like, oh yeah, injury Belian going into LRK, that sounds like really, really bad. Well, it's really not as bad as you would think. Because like we're rocking Crown of Glory, so she does really, really minimal damage. So, and we also have a pretty huge health, pretty huge HP pool, so we don't get affected by injury as much because we're not rocking the shield that LRK just naturally gives himself. Because you see that right there, he still has unbuffable on him. Kind of sucks. But I decided to just go for Mercedes first, because like I can't really hit any other kind of unit right now. And I think, like, this goes to show like how out of it I am. I don't even remember if Mercedes should have died once already. But hey, right here I'm just kind of going into whoever I can to proc Elbris's just to get LRK his cooldown counts going. That right there, what I just did was a mistake, because the Peira was actually out of stealth. I did not notice it. And because of that, like, it's not a detrimental thing to a point where, oh god, I'm going to lose now, but it's just an annoyance. Because the faster you get rid of Peira, the faster you don't have to deal with any, like, damage mitigation horseshit. Because, like, Escort is an insanely stupid buff. Which is why Unbound Knight Arowell is so fucking crazy. And yeah, with Roana, I can't really S3 because, like, everybody has Unbuffable. So it really just does nothing. But hey, we're pretty much still at full HP. They're just not able to do enough damage to us. And also, I mean, we're proccing Inferno Khawazu per every AoE that Belian does. And let me see. Oh, hey, looky there. Someone's not in stealth. So let's go ahead and knock her out of the game. I don't give a fuck who you are, whatever you are. That's 2 force, 5 buffs, you're dead. Unless you're really, really thick. Yeah, you're probably dead from that. Especially if I happen to have attack buff, which I didn't. But, like, hey, whenever you have those opportunities and you have attack buff on Inferno Khawazu, you will just do crazy shit damage with your burn. It's so good. But, like, hey, like, the Crown of Glory that Krau's rocking helped immensely. Like, we just straight up didn't take a lot of damage. Krau didn't do a lot, but he did help a little bit with his artifact. So, hey, it wasn't as planned because we got stunned a few times on LRK, but, like, hey, it all worked out. Now, here comes probably one of the most effective Dark Corvus fights I've ever had. And so this is a Conqueror, Lilias, Mercedes, and Choux fight. So I go into this with Destina, Iseria, and Dark Corvus. I'm like, okay, I'm going to S2. Okay, I'm going to S2. Okay, I'm going to S2. Holy fuck, that hitbox. So yeah, I straight up was struggling to actually, like, hit something right there. It just, I don't know, I wasn't able to hit Dark Corvus. We need better hitboxes, man. So I just decided to just throw away the S3. I don't actually need it. I'll just throw it onto Mercedes just to check. It's like, okay, so that's not too thick. I could probably use my Dark Corvus now and just go in without burning. So if I go into Mercedes without burning, that's like, I forget what the damage is offhand. We'll see it here in just a second. Because when you don't burn, yeah, you do like 18k. So I don't even care. You would have to be an absurdly thick Mercedes, which I don't think any even thick Mercedes with high defense ever has, like, over 18k. Like, I just don't think it's going to happen. And, oh, hey, looky there. Look who already has Devil's Descent yet again. So now all I have to do is I just have to survive these turns, which super easy. Even if she killed my Dark Corvus, I would have Destina ready to S3, bring me back, soul burn this S3 onto the Choux, and then bam, it's done. So we're going to go ahead and edit this through, because you don't need to see me building up Devil's Descent on Conqueror Lilias. It's like a minute of nothing happening. Now, this was another really cool test. I thought by the time it was the Adin's turn, I was dead. So I'll explain what happens as we get here, because once again, this is a Ran RNL. So yeah, that was another hit that went into Shadow Knight Pyllis. So right here, I'm immediately thinking, oh, I'm fucking dead. Well, looky there. So two things happened there with the Savior Adin. One, she wasn't using Sword of Cycling Seasons. That's just like free extra damage if they're going into a dark unit. Which I guess I can understand. Some people probably wouldn't bring a dark unit into tanking a Savior Adin. But, like, this is where Armin also comes in. Armin, just straight up, flat up, just, oh, I don't care, I'm just on your team. Gives the whole team 20% damage mitigation on single target attacks. So any and all single target attacks that go into you, they just do 20% less damage. And she also has Aureus. That takes some of the damage that you are dealt. So, yeah, that Savior Adin did not do much of anything to my Shadow Knight Pyllis. Like, I'm still in perfectly good shape. I'm completely fine. So, we went into the Savior Adin once with the S3. So, you might be thinking, oh yeah, he's going into the Rand because, like, he was scared of that RNL. Actually, because of the damage mitigation that I've just seen, I ain't scared of shit. So, what I'm doing is I'm wasting turns until I get my S3 back. Because when I get my S3 back, then I'm going to attempt to go into Savior Adin again, and then I'm just going to hit her, and then I'm going to kill her. Because, one, I also have Death Buff on me, and when I have Death Buff, I just do even more damage. And also, we have Roana here with us, so there's no risk of going into the Kayron if it's counter. In fact, we get more health back if he's on counter. Like, just look at the bar at the top. Yeah, that's more HP back. So, I don't give a fuck. And also, like, the more hits you do to me, the more, like, death buff procs I'm going to get, because every time Pyllis is hit 4 times, she just gives the whole team death buff. And hey, with that right there, we used our S3 on Savior Adin, or our S3 from Pyllis to go into Savior Adin. She's gone. We don't have to deal with her anymore. Now all we have to deal with is just Kayron. And a Kayron by himself, going into a very, very thick damage mitigator like Armin, who also provides barrier, who could possibly counterattack. I mean, hey, it doesn't really happen that much, but hey, like I said, that's why I brought her. I didn't bring her for any counterattack shit. I brought her strictly for the damage mitigation, and oh boy, did it work. The one thing that's really important that you need to make sure you remember about the damage mitigation, though, is it does not apply to herself. So, you go into, like, units where you have someone else tanking the crazy shit, and then she mitigates that damage on them. And if you have Aureus, like, it just takes away even more of the risk, which really makes, like, Shadow Knight Pyllis and Armin into, like, a Savior Adin comp really, really, really good. Now, for the final fight, I do edit this one down a little bit, but it does kind of drag just a little bit. But, like, hey, we're doing a Armin, Shadow Knight Pyllis, and a Destina fight. Now, same thing I said before. Like, hey, that's really not that bad. That was pretty clean, because I've done a couple of, like, Pyllises into Savior Adins, into, like, Arena, and, like, I take way more damage. Unless I'm using, like, you know, the Armin strat. Because, like, with Armin on my team, holy shit. It just doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. And then, like, with Armin, every S3 that I do, I get myself a nice, big, thick barrier right here. Also, like, occasional, like, 1 cleanse from it. I'm not using the EE that does 2 cleanses. I'm using the one strictly for the barrier strength. Because, like, hey, all 3 of them are going into Pyllis. Now, you could do this with Dark Corvus if you wanted to. Because, 1, Dark Corvus extincts on his S3, so that deals with Spirit Eye Celine. So if you wanted to, you could absolutely Dark Corvus this. It's because, like, straight up, you're dealing with nothing but single target attacks here. So my plan right now is to utilize Shadow Knight Pyllis to go into Spirit Eye Celine when I see the opportunity to do so. Which, in this case, it's going to be after this turn. Because if she activates her, like, extra S1 or whatever, she'll cleanse 1 debuff. So we're going to wait for the Awakening buff to go away. And then we're going to see if we can soul burn her Shadow Knight Pyllis' S3, hope for the Provoke, and then we'll see what we can do with that. Because as soon as we get like 2 or even 3 really good hits into her, because she's also being escorted by Arowell. So what that ultimately does is it makes it so that you can't, like, 2-shot her, because Arowell is taking some of that damage, so it kind of turns into a 3-shot. In this case, a 2-shot could still work if I did good damage, but I didn't. Like, a lot of the big damage that I ended up doing was on just, like, additional damage. Like, I don't think either... Okay, so this one crits, still didn't do a lot of good damage. Because, 1, I didn't have Death Buff whenever I had it. So, like, I just had to go for it. I didn't really have an option. So now, because of the risk that we just took there, not really super big risk, just more of a, do you want to waste a lot of time? So we've already skipped ahead, by the by, because, like, straight up nothing is happening. Like, the Savior Adin cannot kill me. I just have to whittle down Unbound out Arowell, and the more she's whittled, because, like, they have no actual, like, sustain anymore. Because Spirit Eye Celine wasn't the same sustain that you might think she is. She just is like there to be annoying and does immortality for the whole team and brings them back at 1 HP. So it's not super useful, because you can go into that with, like I said before, a Dark Corvus. That'll absolutely work, especially because then all you'll have to fight is her. But then it's just a matter of like judging on if your S1 hits are going to crit or not, and if you have enough sustain on your own end to deal with it. So that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm doing here is, yeah, I'm just doing damage to Unbound Arowell until she can no longer, do the escort shenanigans that she's doing to save your Adin, so that I can just use Shadow Knight Pyllis' S3, and then I'll just knock her out. By the by, this Unbound Arowell is actually rocking a fair amount of effectiveness. So she may possibly have 70. It's either like 70 or she may even be at 100. I'm willing to bet 70 because, like, I did get a little low on my Shadow Knight Pyllis, so, like, I did lose the occasional, like, 60 effect resist whenever you're under 80% or so. Like, it's such a huge hassle trying to figure out what your effect resist is whenever you're playing Shadow Knight Pyllis, because normally, if you're at 150 base, it's usually somewhere in the 200s, but you just have no control over that. If your HP drops to a certain level, then you lose 60% of your ER. Sucks ass, but, like, hey, that's just the way it is. And now, like, this right here should kill. Because, like, I have Death Buff, I hit it, and Shazam. Yeah, works out well. Now, get ready to watch an honest-to-God actual Celine trap. So, this goes in and then just kills Summertime, right? Holy fucking shit. So that is a 16k HP Summertime Iseria, who's then going to go, because, like, there's nothing I can do to stop this, as the AoE attack has already happened, and then here comes this. That is Spatio-Temporal Fan. So what that just did, I haven't even realized how fucked I've been yet. So the Mercedes is now stealth. I haven't even noticed yet. So here I'm like, okay, so now I'm just going to kill the Mercedes. Oh fuck, I can't. I can't use my S3 on Mercedes, so I'm pretty much forced to either hold the S3, or I have to kill the Ran now. I decide to kill the Ran now, thinking, oh, there's no fucking way. There's no way I'm going to miss every single attack, because that's really all I have to do. All I have to do is I just have to go in, because, by the by, my Berseria is not built for damage. This is just like throwaway HP gear that I just threw on her expecting this to work. Like, the easy solution is just having a DPS Briar Witch Iseria. It's a very, very easy solution. But yeah, I go into this, I am not able to survive. Now the only one left is Rimuru, and we can't even kill her now, because we've lost Briar Witch, so if we did kill her, she'd just come back. So yeah, that was an honest-to-goodness actual Celine trap. Very, very rare that you actually see those. And hey, hats off to you, bro. Because I was super pissed whenever I actually did that. But like as I was watching it and just like analyzing all of the fight, yeah, that was a tailor-made Celine trap. Which, like I said, it's very, very easily solved by just using Briar Witch Iseria on a DPS build. Something I should get around to, but like, oh my god. Gearing. Gearing is... Yeah, you know what? Let's hot take of the year. Gearing in Epic 7 is annoying. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I can't say that because like I have friends of mine who play like other gacha games, and then they just tell me like how fucking horrible some of the gearing experiences is in some of those games. I'm just like, holy fucking shit, I'm glad I am in Epic 7. Do you hear that, guys? You have a good gearing system. So basically the only thing that I would really say, in all honesty, like the big thing that I want in Epic 7, I want some form of bulk enhance, because now it's gotten better to have stuff that's enhanced for the sake of breaking it down for like extraction items, because you no longer like use trash items to like, you know, get your free stuff from the alchemist. You can do all that stuff with stuff that's like been enhanced. So I like honestly, I'm not fucking with you. Get rid of the rune system, like the enhancement rune system. Just make it gold. I'm dead serious. Just make it gold, because then I would just start enhancing shit like crazy. Like, I'll just start enhancing everything to, like, plus 15. Like, you guys see that. I'm at, like, 350 mil because I don't enhance things. It takes an absurd amount of my time. I don't like to do it. It's just... that's my gearing process. But hey, if you like this video, I would appreciate a like. It really does wonders for my mental health. And if you guys want more of my stuff, go ahead and subscribe. I'll see ya later.